This is the October 2024 live stream. Let's adjust some things here. How's that lighting? Maybe you should just sit back in my seat here. That works. Okay. All right. Well, this was supposed to be at 3. I pushed it back to 3:15 because I thought I was going to be a little late, and turns out I wasn't. So, not sure when people are going to pop on. But before I get into everything, drink of the day. Got my favorite cup again, but it's just Diet Pepsi. And if I run out during the stream, because I don't have much left, I've got some Diet Coke in there as well. So nothing fancy today. If you guys didn't notice, I did publish a video yesterday that was supposed to be up the first week of July. Finally got that done. And there is one more coming. Well, hopefully. I haven't filmed it yet, and I have some stuff I have to do before the end of the month, but hopefully around November 1st I'll get it filmed, and it's just going to be the update on the student loans and what's been going on for like the last 4 years since I posted the last annual update on that. There's a lot to go over. Since 2020, when I made the last video, there have been all these proposals for student loan forgiveness, and then the courts strike them down. So there's been all these twists and turns, and I'll do my best to go over that, and then also talk about just like what's been going on with my student loans. Let's see. And before everybody jumps on and we get into it, I'll just go ahead and go over the goals from last stream. I've been trying to set goals every stream and then check in the next time. And the 2 goals for last time were to file my taxes for 2023, because the extension deadline was October 15th. And the second thing was to post the video about the financial goal update, which I did finally yesterday. I mean, it's been a project I've been working on all month, but that finally got up yesterday, so that's done. And the taxes are not done. I got sick the end of the first week of October. I don't know what I had, but I was pretty down and out of it for over 2 weeks, like a full 2 weeks, and then like a little while recovering after that. So I missed like half the month. And I was literally just too sick to even work on the taxes. So I missed the October 15th deadline of filing for the extension, but I still have 4 days left this month, and I'm really gonna kind of drop everything else to get that done. That gives me tomorrow, the 28th, the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st, where I can spend basically all day, those 4 days, and I have until midnight on the 31st to submit everything, when I can still file online, because after that you have to print and mail everything. So that's going to be a lot more complicated if I have to do that, so I'm just going to go ahead and get it done basically the easiest possible way I can. And that's to get it done by the end of the month. So that'll be out of the way. And then, like I mentioned in the video I posted yesterday, I just have to go back and figure out 2021 and 2022, but at least something will be filed. And my next step as far as taxes will be to get everything prepared for 2024, especially my mileage log. I wrote everything down, but it's not in a organized way. So I need to get that organized into a spreadsheet and make sure I have all my tax documents together. That way I can either file early in the year, or I can file at least by April, when the normal deadline is. So that's what's going on. I'm going to turn the AC on real quick. It's always either really hot or really cold in this room. Okay, so until the comments start rolling in, I'll just give you guys a few updates for this month. Um, Last night, I got my car battery replaced. This car, I don't know, every year or two, the battery dies. So, this one I've had for 3 years, and right, yeah, I think, yeah, it was fall 2021. So, I've had it for 3 years. It's been taking a little while to turn over since July. A couple months ago, it left me setting. I had to get it jumped, and it was fine. It was actually good. It didn't take a while to turn over. It was really good for like a few weeks, and then it got to where it was taking a long time again. And then about a week ago, it just wouldn't start randomly. So I went for like a week without a car, wasted a huge amount of money getting groceries through like Uber Eats and DoorDash, where it's, double or triple what the actual cost of the groceries are. And I got paid on the 25th for my spending and living money for next month. So I just went ahead and I just had AAA come out and buy, and I had a battery installed by them. Which, by the way, I feel like I got ripped off by AAA because the idea was, I know you can drive to like the car parts place, and they'll put the battery in for you if you buy it there. That's not an issue. My issue was the person who gave me a jump before was another house director who's no longer working here. I didn't really want to ask anybody again or ask any of the guys to jump me. I don't have my jumper cables because I left them in the storage unit to be able to pack as much as possible in the car when I moved out here. So I could have called roadside assistance, but that's a whole issue, and had them jump me, and then I could drive to the store. But I was like, you know what? AAA actually comes out and does this, so they'll just do it on the spot, and I'm like, this is going to be way easier. So it was a little bit more to do that, like the cost of the battery, but it wasn't like ridiculously expensive. So I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do this. What I didn't know, so I went to get a quote from AAA for the battery, and they're like, oh, well, it's going to be like $188, and it says member price, but I'm not a AAA member. I used to be. I haven't been in years because I haven't been able to afford it. But I was like, okay. And I was like, well, I guess to get that price, I'm going to have to sign up. So I spent $104 to buy a year membership for AAA. And then after that, after I get my membership and sign up in the app, then it tells me, oh, well, here's your member price. It was the $188 we quoted you. Here's the non-member price, which it didn't give me before, which was $193. So essentially, I got ripped off by AAA because while AAA might be nice to have, it's not probably something I'm going to use. And I spent $104 to save $5. Because before I signed up, they only told me what the member price was. They didn't tell me what it would be if I just bought it outright. So, got the car fixed, but I don't know. I know I'm making money, but I just feel so bad if I waste any money, and I feel like I wasted money on that. I mean, not intentionally. They weren't really forthcoming about it, but so that's done. Of course, the car is still messed up. I can only drive it a mile or two at a time, but the really important function that it serves right now is that I can go to the grocery store, and that saves me a ton of money. We have, the way my food service works here is Friday morning I have brunch, and then there's no dinner service for Friday. There's no food service on Saturday at all, and then there's no breakfast or lunch on Sunday. So that's why I still buy groceries. I mean, obviously I go to the store and I buy caffeine that keeps me functional for right now. But that's fairly cheap. It's usually two liters for $5 at Kroger. And then but I do have to get some actual groceries for the weekend. And it's just because I would like to eat on the weekend, and sometimes I will eat another meal in the evenings. Sometimes just something small, sometimes like a full meal, just depending. Um, but our food service ends at 6:30 p.m. That's the cutoff for dinner. So I stay up super late, and sometimes it's like, oh well, I'm awake like 8 hours longer than that. So I want something else to eat before I go to bed. Um, so yeah, car is fixed. There's one thing I'm hoping to get done this month. Hopefully, hopefully. I really need to do it this month before it gets cold. I want to replace my, what's it called? Uh, Temperature control sensor. That's not it. Coolant temperature sensor. That's it. That's what I want to replace. And it's really easy to get to. It's right on top of the engine block. But I need to buy the part. It's about $40. My check engine light's on, and when I had the codes read, it's reading that sensor's bad. And I know it's bad because every once in a while, when I'm driving the car, the dash goes crazy, and it blinks alternatively back and forth, the blue and red temperature lights, which means that there's an error, and the engine can't read the temperature on the car. And that's the thing that controls that. So I knew it was bad. And that might fix the overheating issue. I mean, well, maybe not, because I mean the car is still leaking some mystery fluid, but it might, and so we'll figure that out. All right, looks like everybody's jumping in. Makes sense, because I originally said that this would start at 5. I don't know what year it is. I said it would start at 3:15, and then I started early. Hey, so everybody's jumping on. Hey, Max. Hey, Ashy Fox. Ashy Fox asked how I've been. I've been busy, stressed. I was sick for like 2 weeks of the month, so I feel like I missed half the month. But I'm feeling mostly better, and I'm just kind of laying low here, trying not to do much or leave the house or anything that costs money, and just letting money start coming in from the fraternity. So I feel a little bit better every time I get something accomplished. And like I said, I just got the battery fixed on the car. It died last week, and so that, I guess, relieved me of a little bit more stress, because now I'm not ordering my groceries off DoorDash for super expensive. I can just go to the store and get them for the normal prices. So that is a little bit better. I'm on top of all my bills. I have the phone paid current for the first time in a couple of years. Normally it's like a month behind, so there's always like a current balance and then a past due balance. But that's like completely paid off now. Oh, and by the way, as of last month, my actual phone is paid off. I got this phone back in 2021 because I knew I was on the precipice of being poor again. And so I went ahead and financed it through AT&T. I just bought a new phone and then did the payment plan. It added like $40 a month to my phone bill. So I finally made the last payment. It's paid off. I'm planning on keeping it for like another year or two, probably, at least. And then, so my phone bill will start being a good bit less as well. Ashley Fox says, "Oh, nice. How is your car holding up?" Well, so currently it has 243,000 and some miles. It is, oh man. I don't want to sound ungrateful, because I really am glad not to be trapped in the house, and I'm really glad that I can use it to go to the grocery store. Um, but it's like an Olympic sport to drive it because it has so many things wrong with it. And like it's an old car with so many things wrong with it that like I have to consciously remember all like the workarounds of all those different things. And like I have to manually monitor the engine temperature to make sure it doesn't overheat because the temperature sensor doesn't work, and things like that. And so I don't know. It's functional. I can't drive it to the other side of town because it will overheat. I have to, if there was like some emergency and I had to drive to Walmart specifically for something, I could make it over there, but I would have to take 2 breaks, drive for like a mile, park the car for like 15 minutes, let it cool down, drive another mile, like that kind of thing. It's kind of ridiculous, and I realize it's something that I've gotten used to, but other people would be like, what the hell? Um, but I much prefer this over not having a car at all. Um, so, and the reason that I'm not fixing it right away is I I mean I had at one point thought, well, once I get money coming in, I'll just fix everything. But it's to the point now where there's so much wrong with it that it literally, if I got everything fixed that needs fixed on it, it would be more than buying a brand new car. Um, I mean, I haven't had it looked over at the actual dealership since I got the oil changed in the Carolinas, but it's over $20,000 just in repairs that need done. And I can buy a brand new Impreza for $20,000. Um, I think they're 23 at the dealership, but um, so some stuff I'm gonna fix to make it functional, to make it remain functional, but I'm not trying to put much money into it. And at the same time, um, the like I'm not straight out just buying a car right now or even saving money to buy a car because um, I have a lot of other debts that I want to try to pay off first. I won't, like it would be much better if I can get those out of the way before I either save up money to buy a car or have to get another loan to buy a car. Um, but the situation that I'm in right now, that I'll be in at least through May, is that I don't really need a car. I'm on a bus line. The bus stop is right in front of our house. That bus is free. And there is also a city bus, and it's $1 per ride, but I don't have my faculty ID yet. Look, my life's a mess. But when I finally go get my faculty ID, I can use that to ride the city bus for free. So I am I literally just don't really need a car right now, and it's just right like a convenience thing for right now to be able to go to the grocery store, and I literally don't go anywhere else. I mean, if I need to go to campus, I take the bus, and if I have to leave town to go do work in Indianapolis, I have Zipcar, so I rent a car to do that, and of course that's a business write-off. So yeah, that's kind of where things are. And looking at the prices now, I think I'm just going to buy a brand new car because comparing the prices of a brand new car right now to a used car that's like 2 or 3 or 4 years old, it's cheaper to buy a new car, which doesn't make any sense. But if you go check the prices online, that is the way it is. So, you know, do I want to pay $25,000 for a car that is 4 years old and has 50,000 miles, or do I want to pay the exact same amount for a car that has, you know, what do they have, like 50 miles at the dealership because they drive them around a little bit, but yeah, it just makes sense. And knowing how long this car has lasted me, I bought this in December 2017. It had 71,000 miles on it. It has 243 now. And then I know that a lot of those miles were put on that car because I had some like, exceptional circumstances in life that made me drive a lot. So normally it would last a lot longer than it has, but even so, it's lasted me 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. It's lasted 7 years. And that was starting with 71,000 miles. Even if we don't account for all the extra mileage I had to drive for stuff, if I bought a brand new car with no miles, I could probably keep it for 10 years. And I'm cheap, so I would definitely do that. So that's basically the plan. It's kind of like how I do with phones. Like I will buy one brand new and then use it for what people think are an unreasonable number of years. But I mean, hell, I got my laptop over here. This is from 2012, which I bought used, refurbished, and paid $600 for it back in 2017. And you know, so here it is, 12 years old, and I'm still using it for everything. So anyway, went off kind of a tangent there, but Max says, I'm glad to see you having a place other than your car. Yeah, hey, actually, I am not sleeping on the floor anymore. As of about a week ago, I have a prison mattress now. So let me explain a little bit. When I moved in here, I was super confused because the place was furnished and it wasn't supposed to be. There wasn't supposed to be any furniture in here. So I had been thinking about like, well, do I move my bed from my storage unit? But there wasn't any room in the car. So one of the first things I planned on doing when I got here was buying a bed from IKEA and having it shipped here. Well, but when I got here, the place is full of furniture. And I asked my bosses like, hey, what is this stuff? Like, what do I do with it? And they never answered me. So some of it I've thrown away, but the bed itself was like really gross. Like it was just gross. Anyway, so I ended up getting rid of it. I gave the mattresses and some of the parts to the guys to use in their room, and I had to like deep clean. I'm sitting in the corner where the bed was. I had to like deep clean this corner because I assume it was dog hair, but I don't know. It was just like caked everywhere. But anyway, so I have been continuing to sleep on the floor on the same yoga mat that I found in the trash, with the sleeping bag on top of it that I had been using the whole time I lived in the car. Well, at the beginning of the school year, somehow some of the guys didn't have beds. I don't know where they went over the summer, but we didn't have enough beds. So I had to order more beds. And they are, well, I call them prison beds. I mean, they're like dorm beds, but I think they're also used in prisons. But that's what they are. They have like the wooden ends, and you can stack them, like you can loft them if you want to. And then it's got this like metal thing with springs that go in between. And then we got the mattresses from the same company, which are like these, they're like plastic mattresses. But anyway, so you can't see it, but behind the ring light and stand here, I have one set of the wooden things. And then on the floor, I have the prison mattress, and the sheet that I was using to cover the yoga mat just happens to fit this mattress. So I have that on there. That was originally bought to cover an IKEA futon that I used in the office back in Parkersburg. It just so happened that size of sheets fit on that futon because it wasn't really designed that way. And so that's why I had that sheet set, and then I put that sheet set on this mattress. Now there's a trick, and I'm gonna do it eventually. So I've got, I don't have the springs in here. I need to get two sets of springs out of the basement because it's from that batch that we ordered, so they're brand new. I'm gonna get another mattress up here, and I'm gonna get one more set of the ends, like the wooden ends. Because there's a trick that if you put two prison mattress, because they're like twin extra long, if you put two twin extra long beds right beside each other, it makes it into a king size bed. So what I'm gonna do is once I get all this assembled, Then I'm gonna get like a mattress topper that'll go across both mattresses so it kind of holds them together. And then just get like a king size sheet set and put that on there. So I have the bed already. I need to get the rest of this stuff like kind of put together. But eventually I will end up with a king size bed. And if I really wanted to be fancy about it, the side that's going to be back here, that's going to be like along the wall, I could put a third bed up there as like a loft, and then I could use that for like a storage area, like throw boxes up there or something. And some of the guys have made in their rooms, they've used the loft and they've like hung fabric from the top of it, so they have like an enclosed bed area. So that might be an option too. But anyway, yeah, so that's one of those things where I did it and I'm like, huh, this is nice. This is probably how humans are supposed to live. It doesn't seem like it's that much of a difference to me. Because I know everybody that's like not been without a bed and stuff, like they probably think it's like hugely life changing, and it's not. It's just sort of more like I'm doing this because I know that to be a functional person, I should probably have a bed, and so I'm trying to get to that point. But like in all actuality, as far as like sleep quality or anything, I don't really see a difference. I'm so used to sleeping on the floor that, yeah, it didn't really matter. Ashy Fox says, "Oh wow, 20,000." Yeah, the car. Well, I mean, they definitely told me it was not safe to drive when I was in the Carolinas. Um, of course, I've taken it on 3, I think, or 4 road trips since then. Because I had to drive back from the Carolinas, then I drove to Columbus, and then I drove back home, and then I went back to Columbus, and then I went back home, and then I went from West Virginia to Indiana. Not advisable, but I made it here. But yeah, like everything imaginable is wrong with this car. And most of the stuff I was going to fix, but there's like 2 very expensive issues. One is whatever is going on with the engine. It's leaking some unidentified liquid. I can't figure out what it is because none of the fluids are low, but it's leaking something on top of the engine block. And then the overheating issue, which I mean may or may not get fixed when I replace the temperature sensor. But the other issue is like the suspension. Basically, the wheel could fall off at any time, any of the 4 wheels, because they all have the same issue. Basically, everything that attaches the wheel to the car is completely worn out and has been for a really long time. I just haven't had the money to fix it, and replacing all of that is, I mean, even if you just do one of them, it's thousands of dollars. There's a million small issues with it. But the other thing on top of all the small issues is the car has 243,000 miles on it. And I've owned it since 71,000. So I've just been replacing things as they need replaced, but a lot of stuff on the car has never been replaced. Like when I did the radiator hoses this time, back in July, those were the original radiator hoses. And like most parts on the car are original parts that now have almost 250,000 miles of use on them. So all the other expensive things that could go wrong probably will not be that far in the future that they'll go wrong. Just because most everything on the car is original and it only lasts like a certain amount of time. So I think I've pretty much surpassed that life. Also, it's not that big a deal now that I'm just driving it around town. But if I was still driving this thing long distance, I would have to do something about the driver's seat. There is no seat left in the driver's seat, and it is so uncomfortable to sit in. I mean, it's like you sit in it and you kind of just fall down into the floor. Like there's no bottom in the driver's seat. And I can't believe how expensive seats are for a car. Um, like I was looking at just getting a used one that was pulled out of like a wrecked car or something online, and they're pretty expensive, and then the shipping for them is ridiculous. So I'm just like, I don't know, maybe I just put a lawn chair in here or something. But anyway, I guess I probably won't end up doing anything with it just because I'm driving around town, and that's it. It's pretty much an around town car, and depending on what happens with this job, whether my contract is renewed here at this location or whether I have to go somewhere else, um, I obviously am not going to be able to drive the car from this location to that one. So I've already looked into it, and it's a reasonable price to get a pickup truck and a trailer from U-Haul that I can load it on and drive it there. It's obscenely expensive if you do it one way. So I'm going to have to drive it there, drop it off, drive the truck back to the original location, and then get a ride, which honestly from here is not that bad. Indiana actually has really good public transit. Well, compared to Ohio or West Virginia. Like there's a bus that goes straight to Indianapolis, which would connect me with anywhere. And the place that they would most likely send me would be Purdue in Lafayette. And there's a bus that goes directly from Indianapolis to there. So I already got all that figured out, so I don't have to worry about it. Case says, just got here. Are you getting a new car? Not for hopefully like 2 years. I mean, when I do get a car, I'm just gonna buy a new one, rather than getting another used car. But like in the meantime, I don't really need a car. I just use it to go to the grocery store, and that buys me time where I can pay off my other bills and have less debt, better credit, all that stuff by the time that I actually have to buy a new car. But yeah, it's, if you look at used car prices right now compared to new car prices, it's actually cheaper to buy a brand new car off the lot than it is to buy a car that's like the same model but several years older. Oh, you're talking, Case said, how's the series going with the girl? Well, okay, so I have not started it. It's not going to be started for probably several months, because I have a lot going on. I have to get those taxes filed by the end of this month, and then I have to prepare for 2024's. I've still got to write the complaint against the police officer. There's a complaint I have to file maybe early next year against the Family Crisis Intervention Center, which is the domestic violence shelter, for them refusing to help me and instead helping my abuser. There's like an overseeing government board that they're accountable to. I have to write that. And then I haven't decided yet. This is something I want to talk to a lawyer about, but I'm kind of undecided if I'm going to file ethics complaints against the Supreme Court justices for refusing to hear my appeal, even though I had the right to appeal. I want to look a little more into that, because one of the ethical violations one of the ethical canons in West Virginia is that you have to follow the law, which they obviously broke because they didn't follow the law. But I need to realistically look at what the law is and whether the Judicial Investigation Commission is going to take it seriously if I file the complaints, or whether it's just going to be a massive waste of my time. Because if it's going to be a waste of time, then I'll just focus. I've got so much to do to wrap up with the lawsuit and the restraining order and all the things that I have to fix and undo from that I would, if it's going to be a waste of time, then I'd be better served to work on one of those things instead. So yeah, that's something and that would have to be in by April 20th, I think, if I'm going to file those. And then, oh, but I do have an update. I got a letter from the Judicial Investigation Commission yesterday. It's not totally clear. Honestly, I'm a little bit confused. I'm going to write him a letter back just to ask for clarification. But they did admonish the judge. So they issued a public admonishment, and it will be in the news soon, because when you file a complaint against a judge, you have to swear to secrecy. Like, you're not supposed to talk about like the complaint or anything, and then if they reject it, like you can't talk about it, basically. And you're not allowed to say, like, what it was or like what the commission did. But because they decided to do something about it, and because the point of the admonishment is it being public, I'm allowed to talk about it. So they sent me a letter, I think it was on the 21st. I just got it yesterday. And it's talking about, it's a public admonishment of the judge, the first one that caused me all the problems. But the thing I'm confused about is it focuses on like a couple of the issues that I brought up, but doesn't say anything about the rest of them. And before, they had specifically told me, like, okay, well, we'll let you know, like, if we're either gonna do something about these issues or not do something about them. So I'm kind of confused, because they did something, but it only talks about these specific ones. If maybe they're treating the other ones separately or what. But I'm gonna have to write them and find out about that. But yeah, so he's in trouble. And the good news about this is, not only can I make it public, and because I will put the actual documents, now that it's public, I'll put the actual documents in the video, and I'll post them probably on the community tab on my channel, so you can read the actual admonishment. They're public record. They have my name on it, his name on it. So you guys will see what the panel of judges had to say about it. It wasn't good for him. He got into a lot of trouble. And so, and now he's done more since then. So that's actually part of me writing to the committee, because I want to be like, hey, I know you mentioned this, but he also just posted this. So and so anyway, I am not really sure what's going to happen with that, but he did get in trouble. And because it's public, see, like in my videos, I wasn't really going to put people's real names out there, especially for, like publicly identifiable individuals who, because I can be like, oh, this guy's name is Bob, like he's this dude that we know. Like, I wouldn't, I'd make up a fake name for him or something, but if I actually told you his real name, it wouldn't really matter. But like people that are easy to find because they're in positions in the city or whatever, like I was either gonna make up a fake name for them or like not put their name out there. But because this has become public as a result of the investigation, I'll make it public, and I'll put his actual picture, because part of this whole complaint has to do with a picture of the judge. And I had AI create like Meta AI through Facebook, I had it create like a recreation of the picture. And I was going to use that to show you guys what I was talking about, but now I'll actually post his actual picture that he posted because I don't have to hide his identity. Um, you know, it is him. He can't deny it. He, he's admitted it under oath, and he's been punished for it. So, um, so I will put that out there when the time comes. But that's just another update, and there's a lot more that I have to still write and file. So there will be a lot more updates that come. Um, but I'm not anywhere near being ready to start on that series, and I won't be for at least the rest of the year, probably not until next summer at the earliest. Because, I mean, if I'm going to file those complaints, that's going to put me through the end of April. So, and at that time, I have to figure out what I'm doing with job and housing. So, I don't know. I have so many things I have to do in the meantime. There's like so many lists of things I have that I have to like go figure out. I have to see about getting my record expunged. I have to go try to buy a gun and see if I can. I don't want a gun, but I need to try, like I need to go through the process, the background check process, and see if I can do it or if it's going to be blocked, that sort of thing. Because that's another thing I have to go back to court for. I have to I have to get my gun rights back, and one of the steps leading up to that is trying to buy one and see if it is blocked. Because if it is blocked, then that'll help me when I go to court and show them that that is the case. Kay says, how's the assembly business? Well, I mean, I haven't really had much time. I was sick for half of October. I did one job on September 30th. I drove to Indianapolis and did that. I had like 3 people cancel on me in October. And then when I got sick, I turned off my advertising. I haven't turned it back on because of, well, I need to get these taxes finished. And I have to do it by the 31st. So I have my availability for TaskRabbit on starting November 1st, because by that point I'll have the taxes filed and I can start booking some appointments again. So I'll just see how it goes. I don't know. It's usually slower in the winter, and it's been ridiculously slow all summer. So I'll just pick up jobs where I can, and most of that money is just going to be going toward getting stuff paid off. First, the remaining invoices from the lawsuit, which I actually need to pay a couple of them tomorrow. I have the money now, because I'm trying to pay like 1 or 2 a month with the actual money I get, like that I'm earning, and then the extra payments can come from the furniture assembly. So, and then once that's paid off, that money I'm putting toward that will start going toward paying off my small credit card, which is like $1,400 right now. And then I really want to refinance my student loans. I'll just put this out here in case anybody knows that's watching, or anybody that watches this back. I think my interest rate for my loans is ridiculous. I have my loans just transferred from Navient that they've been with since I graduated to Mohella. And the interest rate actually went down when that happened. But they were at 9.25% and 10%. And then when they transferred, they're now at 8 and 9.5. But I mean, like my $15,000 loan, I think only $20 a month. I mean, I pay like $130, maybe it's $137 a month for that one loan. And like $30 of that actually goes toward anything other than, well, okay, let me rephrase that. Nothing is going toward principal. I just looked last night, and for the last 2 years, nothing whatsoever, not a single penny has gone toward principal. It's all gone toward interest and fees. But just looking at the last statement, it says something like $137 was the payment due for that loan, and then like the interest accrued was like 100 and something. Like there was a little bit more paid than went to interest, but somehow that amount doesn't go to principal. I don't know. Case, I don't know what you're talking about. You say, why refinance your loan? You should go to Ukraine or Lebanon and come back as refugee. Get free 60,000 money debit card from the government and free housing. I know. Well, I know you're in Canada. Maybe that's a thing there. That's not a thing in the U.S. I mean, even. Oh, well, yeah, that must be a Canadian thing, because that does not happen in the U.S. I work, well, a lot of the people that I work for with the furniture assembly are like people who have just moved here. I've worked with some people from Ukraine, and I don't think everyone that I have, that like they're all wealthy, right? Like I don't know any poor immigrants because, well, they don't, for the most part, they don't take you if you're poor. Like you have to be established. You have to be like educated or be like a doctor or something, so that before they let you in, so that they know that you're like contributing rather than taking away kind of thing. I mean, that's a big problem for me. I want to leave the US, but I can't because I don't have anything valuable that any country wants. And it's the same way coming into the US. The government and freedom. I mean, I know Canada doesn't have, yeah, okay, you said, yeah, it's Canada only. Well, I mean, I know one thing about Canada is that they're, like, no one really lives there. Like, the population's really low, and so they're always wanting to bring people over. And, I mean, of course, the U.S. used to be like that, and it's kind of the opposite now. I mean, even for people moving into other areas, like Americans moving into other areas, like the Carolinas were absolutely hostile to everyone. I've literally never been to a place where everyone just openly was angry about everyone moving there, and they would always say that like the Carolinas are full, and I've just never seen anything so unwelcoming. But yeah. And then to answer your other question, any weird job stories? Saw a lot of people posting job loss stories or weird coworker stories. Well, I mean, I haven't lost my job, and I don't have any coworkers, so yeah, I don't really have anything like that. I mean, there are the other house directors, and I'm in the group chat. I don't go to the events. I was supposed to go to a luncheon this week. I didn't go. Then a tailgate yesterday. I didn't go. It's not that I'm trying to be antisocial. It's just like I don't really have anything in common with any of them, and I just feel like it'd be a waste of time to go. I would be awkward and uncomfortable, and I don't want to. Like, if there were cool people there, I'd go associate with them, but like, yeah, Case, that's gonna happen. But here's the thing. Okay, guys. So I am gonna make like an actual video about the roommate stabbing, but not just that. It's gonna be the whole thing. It's gonna be like when I lived with him before, and then when I lived with him again, and all the like little weird things that happened along the way with me living there, and also about the other two roommates, the old ladies. Um, and then I'll talk about the stabbing, and then I'll talk about like the trial after that. But the thing is, when I make that, um, I am gonna put that behind a paywall, and it's because um, okay, so eventually I'm gonna have memberships on the channel. Like YouTube has these things called memberships. I'm probably gonna do a cheap tier of like 99 cents, and that would just be like, you don't really get anything other than recognition and live chats. This is just if you want to help me, like that'll be it. If you just want to support the channel, but then I'll do like a $5 one, and then the $5 one would be where you'd have access to members only videos. Some of those videos are just going to be things that are old, that don't make sense to post anymore, but I had them filmed and just never uploaded them. I'll eventually get those on there. One of the videos that'll be behind that paywall is the roommate thing, and that's just because, I mean, he was, when we had the trial, like his attorney told the prosecuting attorney to tell me that he was going to be watching for me to make a video about him and that he's going to sue me, which, I mean, he's not going to win, because what I'm saying is true, but that doesn't mean that he couldn't still sue me. And like, he is out to get me since I had him arrested. So I think, like, it's not impossible that he would pay for a membership and be able to see it, but at the same time, it's a lot less likely than him being like just coming across the video online. Like, even if he's subscribed to my channel, which I don't think he could even figure out how to use a computer to do that, but if it, even if he was, like, he would never see it in his subscription feed, and it would never be recommended to him because it's not a public video. So that's the way that I'm going to do that. Yeah. And there won't really be, I'm not going to put his mugshot on there. I'm not going to do that. But the, I mean, if you know his name, you can find his mugshot. It's on there. It's on Google. But, I'm just saying there's not much to put as far as like visuals. It's just basically going to be me talking, and telling a story. Because really not that much happened. I mean, how much can I document about like weird old ladies that were in prison for insurance fraud, who started a fraudulent charity to rip off black people? I mean, because there's a lot more to this story than you guys know. Because that's all going on too. That's still currently going on. I check every once in a while, and they haven't got shut down yet. But anyway, oh wait, oh Max, I missed your comment. Who do you think will win, Trump versus Harris? Oh, okay, so this might just be my bias because I'm from Appalachia and I currently live in Indiana, so everywhere I'm at is solidly red, but I really think there's a good chance that Trump will win. I've already voted, and so I did an absentee ballot. It's the first time I've done one. I'm still registered in Athens, mostly because I don't know how permanent this job is, and I'm so tired of changing my address every time I move, and then I end up not staying there, even though I intended to, and then everything has to change again. So everything's still registered in Ohio. I'll see long term whether it stays that way. But so I voted. I'm not. So I never talk about politics on here, but I'm just gonna tell you guys this because I want to talk about how I'm unhappy about it. So I did vote for Kamala. I don't like her. I don't really see any good qualities about her as a person. I don't like that she's a cop. I and honestly, I have no idea what her policies are because she doesn't really talk about them. Usually, leading up to an election, there's a lot of discussion about that. Now, I did see like 2 days ago after I voted, she has said that she's going to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. But like that's the only policy thing that I've seen. I don't like that she was forced on us, you know, because I mean, yes, I agree that Biden is like old as hell and should not have been running for president. I think he was really selfish to do that and wouldn't get out of the way. But there also really weren't any other good candidates. And I don't think that Kamala's one. So like, for example, Biden was elected not because people liked him, but because he's not Trump. He got elected not because of who he is, but because he's not Trump. And if Kamala gets elected, I think that she will get elected for that same reason. Not because she's like going to be a good president. But here's what makes me upset about it. So I voted in Ohio, and that makes a difference. Okay, so I was so mad. First of all, I'm not even registered as a Democrat. I'm registered as an independent. So I don't vote in the primaries. But for some reason, I get on these email and like text message things for Democrats. And only Democrats. I don't get them from anyone else. And I mean, I know it's become like a meme of Kamala begging for money, but like that's real. Like I was getting absolutely inundated with emails and text messages, and every time I would unsubscribe from the thing. I would click the box saying I never subscribed to it. I would like report it as spam. And after a while, I started emailing her back, saying like, if you keep fucking emailing me, I'm not going to vote for you on purpose. Like I was getting so frustrated because I was getting like at least 5 ways of being contacted every single day. And so it finally I was just like, okay, this is it. I've warned you. I'm like, I was like, if I get one more message, I'm not voting for you. And then of course I got like 3 more after that. It did eventually stop, but not when I said it had to. And so I'm like, fine, fuck you. I'm not voting for you. So then of course I had to figure out who to vote for because obviously I'm not going to vote for Trump. So I was like, well, okay, I'll vote for Jill Stein, right? Because the reason not that Jill Stein would win, because like that's not statistically possible, but if a third party gets enough votes, they start getting some public funding, and then that could break the 2-party system. And so I'm like, okay, well, the Green Party is like the most likely for that to happen. They get the most votes of third party, so maybe vote for her. But then, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but in Ohio, there's this huge scandal right now. Keep in mind, I'm voting in Ohio. There's this huge scandal right now where Jill Stein was removed from the ballot. The state Secretary of State says that she voluntarily withdrew. She says that she didn't. She said that no one ever told the state that she was not running. And the Secretary of State's like, I don't care. And he just like took her off the ballot. She filed a lawsuit, but like obviously nothing's going to be done. And so there was a paper included in my ballot that said, even though Jill Stein's on the ballot, if you vote for her, the votes won't count. So, not going to vote for Kamala, not going to vote for Trump, but can't vote for Jill Stein because it literally says that the vote won't count. Then there were all these other random people on the ballot that I'm like, who the hell is this? And so I Googled them, but they're all like very right wing. And so I'm like, okay, well, not voting for any of those people either. And then you can write it in. Well, so I was like, okay, I gotta write somebody in. Now my dad would write people in like Mickey Mouse and stuff like that. And so, but I was thinking like, okay, I was like, who is somebody that I actually think is a good person that like I know they're not gonna win, but I can actually like put them down. And so I was like, okay, well I'll vote for Bernie. I know he already said that he's not gonna take the office, but at least like I can vote for a decent person. And then, but then come to find out, in Ohio, you can't just write in any person. This is different state by state, but if you vote for somebody as a write-in candidate who hasn't filed paperwork in that state, that vote won't count either. So I'm like, so literally if I voted for him, that wouldn't count either. So I literally, I voted for Kamala, and I feel like I was forced to because there was no other option other than just not voting. And I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think she's gonna be a good president. I don't think she's a good person. And I don't think that if she becomes president, that her administration is going to do much good. I think she's probably better than Trump, but just a little bit. Uh, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say because it's like no one good even ran, so not really excited to vote in the first place. And then I feel like I was forced to vote for somebody I don't even like. But yeah, pretty much that. Fresh Light says, hope you're doing well. Are you still eating out? At all, yeah. I mean, especially, I haven't had the car for the last week up until last night. You'd think that would mean I'd eat out less, but actually, when I had the car, I pretty much was just going to the grocery store. I actually ended up eating out more because I was ordering DoorDash and Uber Eats. I want to say like a total of like 5 meals in the last week I did that. There's some weird noise. I'm trying to figure out what it is. Okay. It's the broken closet door, I guess vibrating from the air conditioner being on. Okay, so but yeah, so I basically was eating out more because I either had to order groceries or like meals from DoorDash. And meals were generally cheaper than groceries. But anyway, I have the car now. I ran to Kroger last night. I got food again. So, and then food service starts again tonight for the week. So I won't really be eating out. So I don't really know what your question meant, if you meant like at all, or if you mean like if I'm eating less. I have lost weight. I went down to campus. There's a scale in the student center, and I forget what my weight is. I'm like low 190s now. I was 206 when I got here over the summer. And I'm not intentionally trying to lose weight. It's just I'm eating better. I mean, I think just being on the meal plan here, well, I mean, I ballooned up because I was living in the car, so I ate fast food for every meal. Obviously, that isn't good for you. So, not doing that and instead eating normal food, I guess my body is just naturally adjusting. But I want to lose at least 15 more pounds, which I probably will by the end of my contract. Even if I don't get to the point of working out, like, I think I probably will, just because I'll naturally lose the weight and go back to a normal weight. I don't know. My BMI says I should be like 155, but I've been there before and people think that I'm emaciated. So I'm going to shoot for like 170 and see where I look there. So that'd be about 21 pounds less than what I mean now. Case says, I didn't even hear about this grandma story. Are you talking about the two old ladies that lived with my roommate? Because there were 5 people in the house. There was me, the old man roommate, and then the 2 old ladies, and the dog. The dog is the only one that wasn't an asshole. Case says, you should get some weapon that doesn't need license, like crossbow, to defend yourself. I don't know. I feel like the only thing that I have to defend myself against is the girl, and she's not here. So, I mean, I still need to eventually look into, like, if I can get a gun, and I need to officially go to court and get my gun rights restored. But I think, I mean, we talked about the Second Amendment and how it's about guns, but I think it's all weapons. Like, because it's written as, like, the right to bear arms, which I believe would include, like, a crossbow. So, I don't know. I mean, of course, I live in a red state. I live in Indiana, so I can probably buy whatever here. I doubt they actually follow gun laws here, because I mean, I know they definitely don't in West Virginia or Ohio. So I just have to see. I mean, I don't really have a reason for needing one. I don't feel like I definitely don't need one here with the guys, or anywhere in Bloomington. I mean, it's like really safe here. I mean, I could see going to certain parts of West Virginia. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's a like long term. That's one of the many things on that list that I have to do to follow up, and it's so complicated. I actually have I don't know what it's called, but it's like a board. It's like a board that has like different categories, and there are different cards on each one, and I can update the status of each one. And I have that to keep everything straight, to make sure I don't forget anything, make sure I'm following up on everything. And I'm working on it. Like I said, I'm still involved with these complaints with the judges. I still have more to file. I still have other complaints to file. I still, there's something else important coming up. I got to file that complaint against the cop. Not that they're going to do anything, but it needs to be in his file. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the attitude I'm going into with all these things, is like, they're probably not going to do anything, but like, it still needs to be done. Like, I need to complete all of the things I need to do, and yeah, so it's going to be a long process because I got fucked over by so many different people. And it's easy for them to do that, but the time and energy it takes for me to do anything in response to it is a lot more difficult. Fresh Light says yes, meant whether you started at the food service or eating out as before. Well, if I get free food, I'm gonna eat that. I may not make it to dinner service tonight, and that's okay because I bought something that I have to eat today anyway. If you guys go to Kroger, they have like a meal prep company that they own. It's called Home Chef, and they've got these meals, but they're kind of expensive. The cheapest one's $8.99. But usually you can find one or two of them that's gonna expire in like a day or two, and they're half price. So I bought one for like $4 and something yesterday, but it expires today. So if I miss dinner, that's okay because I'm gonna eat that instead. But yeah, also I am tired. I had a hard time sleeping last night. I woke up. I went to bed like fairly early for me, and I woke up with my heart pounding because in my dream I don't know what city I was in. I was in a city somewhere, and I was running from the cops, like on foot, and I don't remember what the situation was. And then I did something that upset myself, and that's when I woke up and my heart was pounding. It took me forever, like hours, to get back to sleep, and then finally went to sleep, and then I woke up again from a dream. I guess it's good that I'm dreaming, because like, you only dream when you're in like that state of sleep where you actually get like the rest that you need. So I guess I am doing that. And I don't often remember my dreams. Even though I don't remember much of these, I at least remember something of them. So, yeah, I guess that's good. But yeah, it just kind of hit me that I was tired. Yeah, Fresh Lights, I went over that at the beginning, but yeah, the two goals for this month were to file the taxes and get the video published about the financial goals. I mean, it's kind of last minute, but I got it published yesterday, so that's up on the channel if you haven't seen it yet. And then the taxes, I have to get done within the next 4 days, because after October 31st, I can't file online anymore, and it makes it a huge pain in the ass to do everything on paper and then mail it in. So I do have some stuff I have to do this week for the fraternity, but I'm going to push off as much of it as I can until next weekend. And then basically on Halloween and so for Halloween and everything, instead of having fun and watching Halloween movies, I will be... I almost said something inappropriate. I probably shouldn't say that. But my full attention will be on my 1040, especially on my Schedule C. So I will, I will get it done. I will get it filed. And I already know how it's going to end up. I'm going to owe about $2,000 for federal taxes, and I'm going to get a big refund, probably around 500 to 750 from Ohio, because Ohio has like a lot of business credits, and since I all of my income comes from, technically small business 1099 income, I get a lot of credits. So basically, I'm going to take what I get from Ohio, and then and I'm just going to take I'm going to take what the refund I get from Ohio, and then apply it to what I owe the federal. And yeah, so that was the goals. Case says go date more, not for girlfriend, but for future story content. Well, you have to realize that I'm a guy. So as a guy, I just really don't get matches on dating apps. I mean, it is a rare occurrence. Part of it's me. Part of it is because I swipe left on probably 99% of the people. I don't think I'm being particularly picky. I feel like the dating pool out there is just particularly bad. But also, like, when you consider that I live in a pretty small town, and there's just not that many people around me to swipe on. And most people that are in this town are 18 to 22. Now, I'm not completely ruling that out. I'm open to dating a girl that's in college, but as I've said here before, I would kind of question, like, is there something wrong with this girl, like, that she wants to date, somebody as old as me? Because, like, that could be a potential issue, whatever that is. But yeah, so I don't know, Case. I mean, I don't know if you know anybody in Bloomington you can set me up with. That's probably a better option than the dating sites, because there's nothing out there. I've pretty much just come to the conclusion that I'm gonna have to import one from Indianapolis. I live 50 minutes. It's like literally it's like 50 miles to Indianapolis, and that's by the roads. It's actually like 30 miles, like straight line. So if I set my app radius to 30 miles, it starts bringing in people from Indianapolis as well. So because Indianapolis is like a normal city where like a normal amount of people live, like it would be more likely that I could meet somebody from there. And it is less than an hour drive each way. Not ideal, but it's possible that I could meet somebody that way. But yeah, you got to understand, like with guys, like we don't get matches. Like I know girls get like tons of matches every day. Guys hardly ever get any. And I would say, I mean, I know, like I'm not trying to brag, but like I know, like I'm above average in looks, and while yeah, my life is a disaster right now, people don't really know that just from my dating profile, because it doesn't look like it from my dating profile. They'll find that out later, but I should be better than most with dating, but there's just no one out there. I mean, everybody is married or has a partner, or they've really let themselves go. And then with in particular, like my rules about things, I won't date anyone that has kids. What woman do you know that's my age that doesn't have kids? So that's the big one. But also, I wouldn't date anybody that smokes. I mean, I do have like kind of a list of guidelines, and I live in a very red country state, so a lot of people do smoke. So that's like another thing. And yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on. And so what you're saying as far as dating to make content, I can't really, because there's nobody. Not only is there nobody to date, there's nobody to even swipe on the apps. Like if I were to open Tinder right now, almost certainly there would not be a single profile on there. Because Tinder sends me a notification every night about 9 or 10 p.m. And it's like, oh, we missed you on the app. Like go in and swipe. And then I go in there and there's no one. So, yeah. And then it's like I live with all guys and I live in a college town where no one's around my age. So I really just don't have the opportunity to meet anyone. And that's why I'm saying I've got to import one from the city. Case says Mark is going to watch porn while doing taxes. No, I was gonna say something sexual. that's what I said I shouldn't say, but it was about taxes. Yeah. Case says import girlfriend from Thailand or Ukraine. Well, I don't want. Okay, so like I don't want to. Look, I don't think necessarily that being a passport bro is a bad thing, but I think a lot of the people who do that are doing it for bad reasons. Um, I I don't need a woman that's conservative or submissive. I mean, it's okay if she is, but it's okay if she's not. And I think most of these guys that are doing that is because they're wanting, women that don't have Western values. Um, I mean, I don't care either way, like one way or the other. I I mean, there's some people that like I don't like, but for me, it's like I don't really care if she's traditional or not. Um, but I feel like it might be looked at, and maybe it would even be true that I would be like taking advantage of them because I'm like, come here, either escape the war or whatever's going on in Thailand. And I, I don't know. I feel like that would be. I don't want to take advantage of anybody, and I wouldn't have the same reasons for doing so as a lot of the other guys that do. Plus, I don't really think I'm that desperate because there's that layer between there's nobody to swipe on the dating apps to like I'm so desperate I have to import a wife from another country. But then like that area between that is like I'll just be on my own. Like if I find somebody cool, but um like there might not be anybody to swipe on, but I don't necessarily need to go buy a wife. So yeah. I mean, Ukraine's kind of a weird one because it's Europe, and you don't normally think of. I don't know. You don't normally think of like Europe as a place that people are desperate to get out of. Thailand, I don't really know anything about it other than where's that place that all the influencers go? I can't think of it. There's a town in Thailand that's like a hub for like digital nomads because it's really cheap to live there. It almost reminds me of like the Thailand version of like Gatlinburg. Not because of the cost of living there is cheap, because it's not, but it's like it's just very much set up as like a touristy vacation-y place. That's gonna bother me. I can't think of what that place is called. Also, depending on how everything works out, one of the places that I've thought about going, this is actually obviously after I get my money up, but I've thought about going to live in Svalbard for a while. Because like I mentioned earlier, because I don't have any like anything to contribute to an economy, um, like no country will take me. But Norway, if you live in the Arctic Circle, will allow you to live there as long as you want with no visa. Um, so I would have to have passive income, obviously, because like, I mean, I can make YouTube videos from there, but like, uh, there's not much going on up there. I might like to do that. We'll see. Get some of the debts paid off, get some money coming in, and maybe I'll move to Norway for a year or two. Pretty much you don't go outside because of the cold and polar bears. Um, but anyway, yeah, I don't know what to do about dating. Like, I would love to, have someone in my life, but there's just no one out there, and it sucks. I was like college dating when I met the girl. She was still in college. I was immediately, directly after graduating. That's all I've ever known is college dating, and then suddenly at 39, I'm single, and I'm like, I don't have any idea how to date as an adult, and I don't like anything that's out there. So, and then you guys know my experience when I first started dating. I went to North Carolina and everyone was a gold digger. So, and then the two girls that I have actually dated since the girl, they've both turned out to just be really shitty people. So I don't really know. I mean, I'm just gonna stay single for now. Don't really know what else to do unless somebody decent comes along. But it's also hard to imagine that happening with, current situation. Just in a city where there's not really anybody available. I don't know. I mean, I'm open to the city thing, and that for me, it's kind of like a long distance relationship, but it's not that long a distance, I guess, if that makes sense. I think that's probably going to be the best option. Just find someone from Indianapolis, basically. All right, well, that's the end of the comments for now. I don't know. I think it's better. I mean, the thing is, I have standards, right? If you look at the girl, she was pretty much dating well, not immediately. It was a few months after she ghosted me, but she started dating what seemed to be far too soon for as long as we were together. And she hasn't had any problems finding anybody, but then again, her standards are sort of non-existent, and I'm not saying that to be judgmental. I'm saying that based on who I've seen her date. And then, and also she's a girl, so she gets attention all the time. She's got as many options as she wants, and that's not something that's a positive about her, really. It's just she's a girl. That's the way it is. Case says, how's your ex doing now? Well, I don't have any contact with her, so I don't have a lot of information. There for a while, my mom was telling me things, and I would get so mad at her because I'm like, what? Why would you just spring this on me? Like, it was just the most insensitive stuff. So like most of what I know, it was actually because my mom would read it in the newspaper and then she would tell me. So my ex went to college, which doesn't seem like that big a deal, but once I publish that whole series of videos, you'll see why that's a big deal and a negative thing. She essentially went to college to spite me, and I don't know how that's going. I heard that she got a scholarship, so I assume she got good grades, but then the program's taking her a lot longer than it's supposed to. So I don't, those two things kind of conflict. One seems like things are going well, and one seems like they're not. But I don't really know other than that. It'll be a year. Well, we're maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks short of a year since the last time I've actually seen her and talked to her. After that deposition, I knew I had to end things. I'll explain more in the videos, but I knew that I could not have anything to do with her after that, based on the stuff that came to light then. And I don't know. I don't know where she is. I don't know what city she's in. I don't know whether she's working or in school. I don't know if she's still with that one girl that she was dating. Because, well, they've broken up and gotten back together a whole bunch of times, so I don't know. I think that girl might be in prison. I'll explain that more too in the videos. I think that girl might be in prison. I know she at least got arrested again for a couple of felonies. Case says, you think she watches your video, right? Do you think she is secretly stalking you, trying to know your dating life after her? I know she watches the videos because she said so in court. She was complaining about the videos. She was Okay. I'm not going to go on a tangent, but I'm just going to say this one thing. She was complaining about the videos because I called her my girlfriend in the videos. And then she's like, I'm not your girlfriend. I'm like, I made that video a year ago when you were my girlfriend. Just because you watch the video a year later doesn't mean that I'm wrong for calling you my girlfriend in that video. The video is a year old. Like, that's not how time works. It's like, if you think that's one of the minor issues, but like that's the kind of stuff I was dealing with. Like, she doesn't understand the concept of time. And so I know she watches the videos because she's talked about it in court, in her deposition. She's sometimes it's her, sometimes she has other people that watch for her and report back to her. So it's probably a combination of both. I don't know how long that's going to continue for, and it may well have ended already. I have no idea. The thing is, when I talk to people about this, off of YouTube too, but also on YouTube and like the comments that I get here, everybody seems to think that she's coming back. You know, she'll try to come back. That even when I said that I dropped the lawsuit, somebody said their suspicion was that we got back together. And I mean, the way I see it is she wants nothing to do with me and never would want anything to do with me and will never speak to me again. But that's not the way that other people seem to think of it. I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm just being super negative. But at the same time, I mean, I can't have anything to do with her because of everything that's happened. So I I don't know what to say about her secretly stalking me, because on the one hand, she she always says she wants nothing to do with me, that she can't stand me, um, all of these things. But then for somebody who said I was stalking her, I mean, she's the one that had a tracking device on my phone. And she didn't turn that off until, I have it written down somewhere, I think it was April of this year. She had my live location at all times. I mean, she was the one going around telling everybody that I was following her everywhere and knew her location and stuff. And that wasn't ever true, but she was doing that to me. And she did eventually turn it off. It was like 3 months after I dropped the lawsuit. But she'd been tracking it at that point for 4 years. So, and then there was the random time that she turned up in Morgantown. I'll talk about that more in the video too, because I'm actually going to send in a FOIA request to get some documents about that, to figure out. I'm going to try to find a police report, because somebody called the cops on me when I first moved to Morgantown. It was a really weird situation, and I suspect it was her, but I'm really vague on the details. So anyway, that was before she filed the restraining order, but it's just really suspicious that the one day that I went to Morgantown to move there for the new job, when I started working for the fraternity, suddenly her, who never leaves her house, ended up there the very same day, and just so happened to have her car parked 2 blocks from my house, and then the police were called on me. I can't say for sure until I get that police report, but that's a lot of coincidences. So, I don't know, to answer your question. And the second half of that question was trying to know your dating life after her. Honestly, I don't know why she would care. I don't know why she would care what my dating life is. I mean, for me, for my part, what I know of her dating life after me, I've been pretty disgusted with it, because I'm like embarrassed that she would consider me to be in the same class as these other people. And of course, after her being with these people, I was just like, I would never date you again. You obviously don't think you have any value if this is what you're going to be with. Like, I'm embarrassed to even be associated with it. So I don't know. That, like, I'm saying that from my perspective, seeing her, but I don't know why she would want that with me. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why she would care. I can't imagine she does, but then everybody seems to think that she does. So maybe I'm just completely wrong. I don't know. I have had a tendency throughout the relationship that, like, every time we broke up, I thought it was permanent. I thought she was so angry she could never come back from that, and she always did. So maybe I'm wrong about this. I don't know. But even so, I mean, I can't really explain right now without doing the whole video series, but she is dangerous, and I can't be around her. Yeah, Case, I think that's true, because her new girlfriend fully stalked me. Like, She knew what I looked like without ever meeting me. She knew what I drove. She was following me around town. She was following one of my friends around town because she'd seen us together. I I went out to lunch with one of my old employees, and so then she started following her. She was sending me messages on Facebook. This'll all be in the video. But she was sending me like threatening messages on Facebook. Tried to ram my car off the road. Uh, there was, and I will look. I will say this, and I will give my ex credit here. When I filed the lawsuit, all that stuff was included in there. And I said, well, obviously she defamed me to this girl to make her think that she needed to act that way and be so hostile toward me. You know, obviously she told her I was crazy or something, so she had to act protective. But through the course of the lawsuit and making that girl sit down for a deposition with me and things like that, I kind of don't, I think there might have been an element of that, but I don't think that's actually what it is. I think the other girl was actually just batshit insane. Between talking to her myself and then looking up her entire criminal history and then the numerous times that she's been arrested in the last 2 years, as far as I know right now, she just got off probation, but for domestic violence. But then almost immediately after that, she got arrested on 2 other felonies for, well, domestic violence isn't a felony, but these are felonies. And they have to do with theft and defrauding the government for welfare. So, yeah, real winner. This is the person that my ex thinks is much better than me. But Casey, you might be right. I don't know. All I know is what she's told me, is that she hates me, wants nothing to do with me, and she certainly acts that way. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe she's looking in the distance, but even if she is, that doesn't really gain me anything. I'm still really upset that she ruined everything, and I really wish she wouldn't have. But it's kind of like there's a point at where it's like, well, you know, what do I even do? Like, I can't, you can't, like, I don't know. So, basically, I don't really know the answer to your question. I will say there's been a lot of accusations of me stalking her. Oh, you guys will love the picture. Oh my God. You guys will love the picture. When I make that series of videos, her new girlfriend was ranting at me saying, we have photographic evidence of you stalking her. And then in the lawsuit, I subpoenaed the pictures. Oh my God. It's the most fucking ridiculous thing you've ever seen in your life. First of all you can see is the outline of a person taken from like a quarter mile away in the dark. You can't even see man, woman, you can't tell what they're wearing. You literally just see a black outline of a person. And then they sent a second one with that zoomed in on the same picture with it circled in pink. Because when it's zoomed in, you can't even see that it's the outline of a person because it's that bad of a picture. So I thought, well, shit. I mean, this must just be like a poor print quality of the photo. Surely they're not saying that that's this absolute photographic evidence they have of me doing this. So my next discovery request was for the actual like files. No, the actual digital file is just as bad. So they're over here saying, oh, like, this was you, and like, this is proof that you were doing all this. And I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, what? And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you this right now. By the time I make these videos, everybody's going to forget about this, so it's not spoiling the surprise. I'm going to show that famous Bigfoot photo, you know, the black and white one. I'm going to show that, and then I'm going to show the photo that they have. Because I just need you guys to realize that the Bigfoot photo is better quality than whatever the shadow person is that they're claiming is me. I mean, it's fucking absurd. Case says, women crying, men stalking them, but they are the one doing the stalking. Yeah, and you know, my ex actually did admit during her deposition that she was never afraid of me. I mean, you know, she made all these accusations of stalking, but then she did admit that, like, even despite that, she was never afraid that I would do anything. And we talked more about it because her lawyer had, like, said something to the judge about, like, he couldn't give me her mom's address because of, like, he basically said that I was, like, gonna kill her mom. And so I asked her during the deposition, I was like, did you think I was gonna hurt your mom if I knew where she lived? And she was just like, no. So I don't know what happened with that, but, and then turns out it's the same damn address she's been at, like the house that I've been in. Like, it's not like she moved and they didn't want me to know the new address. But yeah, I mean, after everything, my ex did, you know, she did say that she was not actually afraid that I would do anything. And then Case said, did your ex wait, hold on. Yeah, did your ex also said you abused her in some way in court? I was not even in court, and I can bet she did. That's just how women are. Yeah, she did, but also not. Let me try to explain this. Okay, so there's so much about this that I haven't talked about publicly, but there was a lot of abuse in our relationship, but I didn't know it was abuse. There was so much of what she did to me that I now know is considered abuse. Emotional, financial, there was sexual, I'm probably physical. Well, I mean, like, you know, the time that she tried to hit me. And I didn't know it was abuse. I mean, if I'd known, like, if I knew, oh God, like, she just did this and this is abusive, I would have left. Like, no matter how complicated the situation was. But I did not know that what I was experiencing was abuse. And the way that it kind of came about, where I realized that I had been abused, was when she filled out, I'm going to pour myself a drink here. When she filled out the petition, so for the restraining order, there's like a form that you fill out, and it uses the term abuse in a few of the questions. And probably the most important one was, when did the abuse start? And the interesting thing about that is that when I realized what the court considered abuse, I mean, I knew that I didn't do any of those things. But then I'm like, wait a minute though, but you did these things to me. And that was the realization, because I literally, after court that day, I ended up calling the National Domestic Violence Hotline and a couple of other places, and I started going down this rabbit hole of like, wait, what the fuck, was I abused? And um, so, but as far as that question, where she says, well, she answers the question. She says, when did the abuse begin? And she said, April 16th, 2021. April 16th, 2021 is the day that I sent her the video. I think I've mentioned this before. Basically, we needed to have a conversation about some really terrible behavior on her part. She kept avoiding it. She kept trying to be super nice to get me to drop the subject, and it was not happening. Like, I drawn a line in the sand, and I'm like, no, this has gone way too far. We're either talking about this or this is over. And she did everything she could to wiggle her way out of it. So since she wouldn't talk to me, and we've sent videos back and forth before, and obviously I'm a YouTuber, I make videos, but I sent her a video, and I just went over everything, and I was like, this is it. Like, I'm not going to tolerate this behavior. We're supposed to move in together. I'm not going to let you move in with me if you're going to act like this. I'm not going to let you act like this and go down to my fraternity where I'm supposed to be a role model. And I'm like, so I told her, I was like, get your act together. I mean, I was a little kinder than this in the video, but I was like, get your act together, act right, or I'm not taking you. And I think that was a pretty reasonable thing to say. And I will say that, she completely flipped the fuck out about the video. And I'm not going to downplay that. I'm not going to go into what she did here to retaliate, although there was a lot of retaliation. But I'll go into it in the videos. But within about 3 weeks, she had completely calmed down from it. One night she was like, well, we were making out. She like was sitting on top of me, and she was like, just no more videos, okay? And that was like all she had to say about the video. And then, but I believe it was later that week that she brought up the video again, and that was when she said that I'm not allowed to have boundaries with her. And from her making that statement, I realized that she was acknowledging that she knew that the video was me setting boundaries. Even though she freaked out and, acted like the video was the most horrible thing. I mean, really what it was is probably the first time in her life that anybody has ever told her no or held her accountable. And that's why it was such a problem. But of course she wasn't saying it at the time, but she was acting like it was abusive. And, but yeah, no, so she just said, no more videos, okay? And then she acknowledged that it was me setting boundaries and told me I'm not allowed to have boundaries with her. And then a year later, suddenly she's upset about the video and it's the worst thing in the world, and it's the root cause of her filing the restraining order. Even though she didn't have a problem with it, really, I mean, she freaked out when she got it. But like I said, she'd completely calmed down within a couple weeks to where she just didn't even care anymore. And then a year later, it was suddenly the biggest deal in the world. But remember, she said on that petition that the abuse started with that video. And then she acknowledged that the video was setting boundaries. Put those two things together. Boundaries, which she says I'm not allowed to have with her, are abuse. She thinks that boundaries are abusive. And that just shows you the level of entitlement. Okay, so I'm getting behind on comments. Let me see here. Case says, it is reverse psychology. If someone, it is reverse psychology. If someone attacks you and someone, wait, what? If someone attacks you and someone calls the cops, police don't know who attacked. So it is best to accuse someone first to get some kind of credibility. Yeah, so that's called a smear campaign, and I realize that now, and that's what she did. She was talking shit behind my back, even when things were good with us, even when we were together. Like, we would even be fine. We wouldn't be in a bad place at that moment. But she was constantly talking shit to her friends and her family about me, so that when things went bad, they would already think I was terrible and they would support her and tell her she was right. So that was a big part of it that I didn't know about until that final year. I didn't know she was doing that. And yeah, that's essentially what she's done. That's why I'm saying it's so important. Like, she's told everyone her story, because that's what she's done, is she's gone and told everyone that she's the victim when she's not. And, you know, I don't know if it's just playing the victim or if it's that she just wanted to get out ahead of me before I could say anything about what she was doing. But that's what happened. John says, you should have voted for Biden. He fit all the criteria you had, and he's not Kamala. I don't really like him either. I mean, I guess I would prefer him between the two of them, but obviously, but I also was one of the ones that was like trying to get him to step down, because, I mean, there was no way he was going to win. I mean, he can't even speak complete sentences. So I was like, really, I don't know. So that's the other thing, though, with the way Ohio's set up. If the person isn't specifically on the ballot, or like hasn't submitted candidacy paperwork to even be a write-in candidate, the vote for them won't count. And it's a really weird situation where he was the nominee and now he's not the nominee. So I figure they would find a way to make it not count if I voted for him. Case says, it is very simple to see. Just reverse the gender role to check. Imagine if a man says to a woman, you are not allowed to have boundaries with me. Easy to see if it is abuse. Yeah, I can tell you, I've spoken to a couple of domestic violence counselors, and they were pretty shocked that she just blatantly said that. I mean, even I at the time, of course, not realizing any of this was abuse, I was kind of like, when she said that, I was kind of stunned. I was like, huh? Like, I mean, I didn't challenge it, and I thought about it later. I was like, am I like, do I not have the authority to have boundaries with this person? Like, am I like somehow a lesser status than her where I am not able to do that? Because at the same time, she was also insisting on her boundaries. But here's the thing about her boundaries. The conversation started out, do we need to have a conversation about boundaries? That was how she started it. And I said, well, I mean, I don't think we do. And then the conversation did not happen. But then later on, she would get mad at me and she'd refer back to it and be like, what did I say about boundaries? Now, my concern is that she thinks that we had a conversation about it, because this was a recurring issue where she doesn't like confrontation. And if there was something difficult to talk about, like an adult conversation to have in a relationship, she would have it in her mind with a hallucination of me. Like she would have full conversations with like a force ghost of me. But of course, that's not real me, so I don't have any of the information. And whatever responses like force ghost me was giving her was just whatever she wanted to hear. And this was a recurring problem literally for years in this relationship, where she would have these hallucination conversations. Um, Minnie says when boundaries are healthy, she needs to listen to Dr. Henry Cloud. I'm not familiar with that person, but I will acknowledge that like some boundaries are not healthy. But the boundaries I was trying to set were things like stop cheating and you can't cheat on me moving forward. I don't think that that's an unreasonable boundary to have. I also told her that while I knew that she had done some horrible things and she had lied to me about a lot, that I was willing to let her go and start this journey with me, moving in together and me providing her housing, if she would just come clean about everything. And I promised her I would keep my emotions in check. I would forgive her for everything that she told me, that we just needed to be honest with each other and have a clean slate, and that I just wanted to know everything, no matter how bad it was. And I promised her that I wouldn't leave her based on whatever she'd done. She just needed to tell me and be honest. She acted like that was the most horrible thing that you could say to a person. I mean, she did eventually agree to it. Now, she didn't actually end up doing it, but she did agree that she would have these conversations and tell me the truth about everything. Okay, hold on. I gotta turn the AC off. Now it's freezing in here. It's always either freezing or burning up in this room. Okay, so Case says it is setting the stage. Let's say a woman lies about something. She then talks friend B about the lie and friend C about the lie. Imagine if something new happens, B and C will automatically tells D about the lie. Even without hearing about any info about the new event, they would automatically tell other people, spreading the lies around. Typical high school immature stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's similar to that. It seemed like, well, I think it's a little more complicated though, because on the one hand, that was going on for sure, and that stuff I didn't know about until that final year. I didn't have any clue that either when she was mad at me or even when she wasn't, that she was talking shit to people behind my back, making me out to be terrible. When it kind of really just boiled down to she played the victim to everyone. So our relationship could be on good terms, but then she would go play the victim to everybody else. And then that created this sort of echo chamber where then she would go to them when I was trying to do something like set boundaries or like tell her no about something. And they would say, oh yeah, like, no, he's totally terrible. And you're right. But it's like their opinion on me being terrible is because she told them all this stuff that wasn't true, like leading up to this. I think that's part of why her mom hates me, because her mom has no reason to hate me. I mean, the only reason her daughter is alive is because of me, and I took care of her when she was sick for years, and I put up with way too much of her bullshit and still stayed and was loyal to her. And her mom should just be happy that her daughter had somebody like that. And instead, her mom hates me. So that is definitely the result of her doing that stuff. Case says, imagine if you hear a bell ringing, then your neighbor runs to you, tell you that a tiger is spotted. After 3 more times, it is the same explanation. What happened if the 4th time the bell rings? You were going to think there was a tiger spotted again. Okay, yeah. What makes this even more complicated is all that stuff that I just said was going on, but she also sort of had like a different personality for every person that she talked to. Like, I think also maybe possibly a different backstory, but definitely a different personality. She would act like a totally different person with each person that she interacted with. And of course, I didn't know this was going on. And so I don't even know. I think that, I don't know. I don't know what's real. I know not all of it's fake. Some of it's real, but I don't know what. And when her mom was on the witness stand, I actually stopped asking questions because after a while it became apparent that whatever stories she had been told were like wildly different than the stories that I was told. Because she was always talking about how her mom would savagely beat her and wouldn't feed her and stole her money and all this stuff. And then, like, her mom was being told that I was doing all of those things. I mean, the common thread is that she played the victim to every person about every other person in her life. So every person thinks that she's a victim, and it's just every person points to a different person who is the cause of it. And it makes it more complicated because she believes her own lies. That is, if they're even lies. Because she also hallucinates, so she might believe it. So, I don't know, it's a lot to go through. It's really like this, it's really tangled, and I'll make it make sense in the videos, is what I'm saying. But I'm 12 years into this, and I still just sit back and think, what the fuck? Kay says, what do you think the proper punishment is for your ex? Oh. I wouldn't say that I think necessarily that she needs to be punished. Like, I think what she needs is to be cut off by her mom, because her mom is her biggest enabler. And I don't mean, well, I mean, like, cut off financially, probably, because, like, my ex is 35 years old and her mommy still pays for everything. But that's not what I mean. I mean, she needs to stop enabling everything. And her mom's the biggest source of that. I don't think that her mom ever punished her as a child. I don't think her mom ever told her no. I mean, my ex would say the complete opposite, but like from my observations, And I think that's why she reacted so poorly to me saying no and me telling her that I wouldn't tolerate things. Because I don't think anybody's ever done that. As far as punishment, I don't really know what she needs, but she needs to be held accountable. I don't think prison would be beneficial. I mean, she deserves it for sure, but I don't think that it would be beneficial to her. Um, I I feel like, you know, it might cause some harm and probably not much benefit. Um, every time she gets arrested, she gets out of it somehow. Um, so there's not even like an opportunity that she's going to be going to prison. But I think it's two things. I mean, in some ways, like she needs to be cut off from her mom. She needs to have people, whoever that be, just not believe her or tolerate her bullshit anymore. To where she has to live in the real world and like face things as they actually are. But I mean, I'm sure you guys have probably picked up on this. There's also there's a big element of this that's a mental health issue, and that's not her fault. But at the same time, she doesn't care about how that affects the people around her. It's not that she's totally untreated. I mean, she refuses therapy, but she is medicated. But she does not care at all about how that illness is affecting anybody else around her. The biggest part of that is like with the stuff with me, she knows she has it. She knows what it is. She knows how it operates. And she knows it distorts her perception of reality. She knows, she should know that it doesn't even make sense for her to think that I did the things that I did, that she says that I did. And I mean, I've pretty much proven to her, especially during the deposition, that those things aren't even possible. It would be one thing if you thought something and somebody proved it wrong and you're just like, well, I still think that, even if you refuse to change your mind. But in her case, we're starting from the very beginning with, she knows her perception is wrong. She knows she hallucinates. She knows that she has these issues. And yet she absolutely is completely unquestioning of herself, of her perception. She will not even consider that she's wrong or misconstrued something. And it's like, that's bad enough if you're just a normal person, but like you literally have a disease that makes you do that. And you know it. So like you have to consider that is going on instead of going around accusing people of shit. But she won't. So the mental health issue needs to be dealt with. But I don't know, every counselor I've talked to has said like, well, you can't force them to, like, the only way that they're gonna get better is if they hit rock bottom, and that's when they can maybe decide for themselves that they need to do the work. But the problem is, every time she hits rock bottom, her mom bails her out of it. And her mom, like, prevents her from actually dealing with the issues that she has. Tells her that she's right and that everyone else is wrong, and so there's not really any hope that that's going to happen. So I don't really know that there is a punishment, I guess. I don't think necessarily punishment's what she needs. But there needs to be some change. All right, well, I don't see any more comments. I am kind of dragging here. I probably went on about that for too long, partly because I'm tired. So I'm gonna keep working on the X thing. Like I said, I have a lot of stuff I need to write and file, along with everything else that's going on, and basically I need to do that stuff before I can even start making the videos about it. But that's kind of where things are. And Case says, any comment on that last video you posted? Like, do I have any comment on it, or are you asking it if anybody else commented on it? Oh, anyone else? Maybe no one is listening. So there were like 5 total comments, but I think one of those was me responding to somebody. And that was before I started the stream. So there might be more now. Going to release any monthly financial videos soon? No. So the plan currently is for January, February, and March, I'm going to be testing out 3 different replacements for Mint. And I'm going to make a video about testing those, and then like the one that is the best I'll end up using to start doing the monthly budget things again. But that would be April at the earliest, because I got to do January, February, March of actually categorizing all the transactions. Then once that's over, it'd be the beginning of April where I'll make the video about doing all of that. So April would be the earliest that it'd be up. Keep in mind that I'm also going to be trying to figure out filing my taxes around this time, so maybe after April. But yeah, that's the plan. I got to test these new products to try to find a decent replacement for Mint, and then once I do, oh no, I'm not going to make a video about how to do taxes. There's no, I mean, I don't have the expertise to do that. I do my own taxes, but I don't have anything to contribute to anybody else. So hopefully by mid next year, I'll be able to start doing monthly budget with me's, budget reviews. And the main part of that is I want to be able to have that net worth graph again, because I am making progress in my finances, but I want people to actually be able to see that. That's really hard right now. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. The only other thing is I need to set goals for next month so I can check in on the next live stream with them. Case, I'll have to answer that later, but the last time that I haven't left Indiana since I got here. I visited mom in July before I left. But yeah, I've literally only left Bloomington one time, and that was to go to Indianapolis for a job. But yeah, so basically, I think obviously the goal was to finish the taxes. That was from this past month, and that'll get done in the next 4 days. But I think a realistic goal for this coming month is going to be two things. Really just life accomplishments, but I want to put this whole prison bed together that I mentioned earlier in the stream, and then I want to fix the slats for my old bed. They're laid out on the floor, taking up half the bedroom floor space. I gotta go buy a staple gun and then staple the ribbon on them back in the right place, and then stack them up and hide them behind the bedroom door to get them out of the way. So I think between getting the bed and what that'll accomplish of me having like a full adult bed, and also getting this project fixed and out of the way so I have floor space, I think with the fact that I have to finish the taxes, that's going to be enough goal for the month. And otherwise, I'm just going to try to make some extra money to put away, hopefully toward paying some stuff off. All right, so it looks like I bored everybody with talking about the girl. So we only got 10 people left on here. We are 2 hours, 21 minutes in, but I don't see any more comments, so I will end this. Just set the goals. We'll check in with those next month. And I am really going to try to get the student loan video up. I have got everything written out of what I need to say. I just got to film that. That's not going to be one of the goals. I'm just going to try to get that up this month because I don't want to get any further behind on that. So, all right. Well, I am going to get off here and go get dinner because dinner service starts in 4 minutes. That way I don't have to eat my food I paid for. So I'm going to do that. Feel free, guys. I do read all the comments, so if you're just watching this back later, you can comment there. And I will try to have my annual update, which will actually be for 4 years this time, on my student loan debt up sometime by the end of November, preferably before the November live stream. So I will try to get that done and hopefully have my life together a little bit more by the next time I'm on here. And if you haven't watched the video I published yesterday yet, go watch that. It gives you an idea of what I've been doing all year with my finances. All right, and I'll see you guys later.